This conference will now be recorded.
Wait, record. Right. So we have created three epics, three epics, user stories and all everything we have. And fourth epic will be for integrated supplier and purchases. So because whatever the purchases record and all sent to suppliers and all that, so that also has to be mentioned here, right? Supplier purchases, all that. So we have to write user stories for integrated supply purchase. Now you tell me one user story in this supply purchase integration, right? Person.
Okay, can you go back to those screen, which was the
Right.
description?
Right. Yes, this is the one.
Okay. Okay, so as a user, I want to see. I'm telling the
Hmm.
so
One
yes.
minute, let me write it.
Okay.
As a user,
As a user, I want to see the list of
tell me.
purchase order which was sent to the supplier.
I want to see the
Purchase order
list of purchase order.
that
Hmm.
sent to supplier.
So that I can see to whom it was sent, right?
Yes, to whom it was sent. Okay.
Right? To whom it was sent. Means supplier I'm talking about. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, next, anything apart.
Integration. Integration, we can say that also we can say that what are the material is still not received or which is in progress, like that we can say what is the status of the PO.
How to write the user story, right? How do we write it? No.
Okay, as a user, I want to see the status of PO which is pending at
As a
supplier end.
user, as
I
a
want to
user,
see, I want to see
as a user, I want to see
the status of
status of
PO
purchase
pending
order,
at purchase order pending at supplier end.
finding it
Supplier end.
supplier end. Okay, next. Next point.
Supplier purchasing. We can say that the defective material or defective parts, we can say that received from the supplier, because it is also
Defective parts,
integration.
written of defective parts you're talking about, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. So as a user, as an admin, right? As an admin, I need to locate
The
the list.
defective
I need to update. I
defective
need to
item.
update. It's not. Sorry.
I need to update the list of defective items.
I need to update the defective parts list. Okay.
Yes, defective part list.
Defective parts list so that I can return.
Okay. I
I
can
can
return.
return to the supplier,
Supplier.
right?
Yes.
Right. Next. Anything apart?
Mm,
This
Inventory
was the
tracking will be
case study. Is that in?
inventory. I think in it is covered. I think I've covered.
Sorry.
Uh, the inventory tracking, I think it was covered by me only.
Right.
The above points. I think that that is enough. I think for the integrated supply purchase.
Okay. Next, the fifth, this one, consistent and customizable reports. Please read.
Okay. Okay. We can say that as a user, uh, we
Mm-hmm.
we want to look at the sales quantity, inventory, sorry, sales quantity, inventory quantity. Then we can say that uh, the amount spent to the supplier, and or we can say that purchase amount.
Your turn. Ajay? So we are writing on fifth one, right? Fifth one.
Yes, yes. So we have to say it like that for the
As
user
a
stories.
as
As
a
a user, as a admin,
user,
you can, a-
as an admin,
has been. I want to see the detailed
I
list of
want I want to
to see
see
the detailed list of
the list of
purchasing amount,
PO amount, PO total of
total
PO,
PO,
right?
total PO amount,
PO total PO. Okay. Total PO amount.
amount, uh, inventory,
No, total PO amount to view, right? Whether you are doing it recently, regularly, or
okay,
optional, that's different. But anyway, we will have an option to see the total PO amount, right? For what
okay,
reason it is?
uh, to give the overview to our top management,
Mm,
to provide the detail to the top management, we can say that.
so that management can see the total, right?
Yes,
So that management can view, right?
yes.
Management can view. Next, next point.
Next, we can add for inventory. The 3 points is was there. One is the PO, one is second one inventory, and third is the purchase amount.
Yeah, one user story we have written. Anything apart, we have to write.
Uh, we can write that inventory for inventory. So as a admin, I
Yeah,
want to see the inventory details.
1 minute. As an admin,
I want to see
I want
the
to see
inventory details
the inventory details.
so that top management can
I want to manage. I want to see now.
see because it is a report.
Okay, reports, right?
Yes,
I want to see the inventory details so that
top management
I can this
share
those
share with the top management. Yes.
to the management. Okay, next.
I think this too is enough. Right?
Yes. The next part is multi-store management. Multi-store, multiple
Okay,
stores.
multiple
There
stores.
was already written there. Right? Three types of multi-stores they have written. One is franchises, second is corporate network, third is buying.
Okay, franchises, corporate network, and buying group. Okay, in user stories, what we can write for the franchises?
Yeah, tell me. Tell me.
I'm still thinking about the franchises.
Sorry?
I'm just thinking what we can write for the franchises.
Hmm.
Take under the strict conditions. Please, could you please help me out for one? Then I will do
Right. So this is
second.
for multi-stores because to manage multi-stores and all it is. Can you read out these paragraphs so that you may be getting some points, I think.
Okay, okay. Okay, we can write that mm, we can link this software with the other franchises so that the amount of work will be reduced.
No, no.
The amount of work
See,
will be greatly
generally
reduced.
pointer system is an application seems one, right? So because even though they are using, because for example, if there is one store, they may be
Mhm.
using three, 4 point of sale. Depends on the size of the store, right? For example, if it is three POS systems they are using for one store, 3 into 4 store, 12 POS systems. Clear. Understood or not?
I think how the we include the software with the franchises. So we are going to implement our software to other franchises, or how can we can build the user story?
User story from the perspective of a user, right? We have to. So here admin comes into picture because multi-store management means store management and all everything will be the right of a admin,
Okay.
not the right of a user. Agree, right?
So as a admin, I want to add the list of franchises.
1 minute. Mm, right. Tell me. As a
As a admin,
okay,
I want to add
I want to add
new franchises
new franchises.
in the list.
As an admin, I need to have an option, right?
Yeah, you can write that.
I need to have an option
To
to
add.
add. Okay, am I right or not? To add and edit
Okay. Edit.
franchise information. Franchise, it's
Yes.
not franchise, it's franchise information, right?
Information.
Sometimes. So that we can see the list, right?
Hmm.
Next, next.
Next is uh, can you go back again to the
Yes, no problem.
key? Okay. Can you scroll down a little bit? Okay. Corporate networks and buying group. Corporate networks is a business group. Okay. Okay. As a admin, I want to add the corporate networks in the list. Uh,
Mhm. As a
as a admin,
1 minute. Mm, as a admin,
I want to
I want to
add and edit
add,
and edit
add and edit
uh, corporate networks group, corporate networks
corporate network
to the list.
to the list.
Mm,
Okay, to the list.
to the list.
For what reason?
To the list. Storage management. We are doing business with the corporate networks, right? So to see the details,
So that
to see
we can see
the details,
the detail.
informations or
We can
informations.
see information, right? Okay, next.
Could you please go back again to the key page?
Hmm.
Okay, which is buying group. Buying group is a merchant. Okay. 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 As an admin, I want to add and edit the buying group in the list so that
Okay. Yeah, tell me.
okay. As an admin, I want to
Multi-store management.
Yes,
As a admin.
the last one. As a admin,
Hmm.
I want to
I want to.
add add
Hmm.
uh, add the information of
Or add the information of
buying group
buying group
in the list
in the list
uh, so that I can
so that
uh, so that I can view
hmm,
the information for future negotiation.
view the information
For future negotiation.
for future negotiation. Right?
Yes.
Is it clear? Right?
Yes.
Next. Anything apart?
No, I think the three is there. So we have
Oh,
added the three features, user story.
right. So, right. So what we do first, right? So first of all, when we are working on an application, and whenever we are going to add some new information and all everything into the Jira application, first of all, you have to create a roadmap.
Correct.
If we want to create a roadmap, usually there are different epics we have to create first. Each and every epic will be lined up with some user stories as well. So what we did so far about, we have created epics. Followed by this epics, we have added some new user stories and all everything into that. Now, if you can see here, I'll be showing you in a backlog where you can see the list of items and all everything in this. You can see here, whatever 24 issues, total 24 issues were there. Means, assume that, for example, whenever you are working on Jira in reference to the agile planning, for the first phase of release, normally in agile implementation, it is based on the release. Whatever the release plan we have and all, based on that, usually this implementations and all user story, taking up user stories and all everything will be depending on. So now what is happening here? Now here we have added different user stories on the backlog, right? So total 24 user stories, all somewhere around 24 user stories we have got. So these are the user stories where you can see in a backlog. From this backlog, what we can do is we can start sprint usually, right? Sprint planning of sprint, starting of the sprint and all everything can be done. You can see here sprint one, right? So whatever the
Yes.
user stories we feel is right, everything will be added into the sprint. And here there is an option called start sprint. But before you're going to do all this backlog, these things and all, what we have to do is whatever the user stories we have written, for that user story, we have write down the story points. I'll tell you the importance of story points.
Okay.
What is story point is all about? For example, let us take this user story. What is this user story? System user, I want to have an option about sales report so that I can see this invoice. Means preparation of the sales report is what the work a Scrum team has to do, isn't it? Right? This is what the work.
Okay.
Now, how important is this work? How complex this work is to develop is what we have to know, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
So, whenever we are working on user stories, so whenever we have added or written user stories, for what reason you have written user stories? We have written user stories for the benefit of development, right? Based on the
Yes.
user story, that respective functionality means, for example, if you take this as a user story, preparation of sales report is what generally team member have to do. But before a team member start this user story, first of all, team member have to decide out of 24 user stories what are important, right? Second, first point, what we have to see is these we have to see. I'm just writing down on the chat box. First thing, out of all user stories, irrespective of epic, I'm talking about Basant, right? It is nothing to do
Okay.
with epic. Because why? Because For example, in the first epic, we have how many 3 plus 3, 6, 1, 7 user stories. If you are taken first epic, it is not that we take all the user stories. It is not needed, right? Because we have to see the business importance all that, right? Out of all user stories, right? Out of all user stories, we have to select how many user stories need to start first. Need to start first, right? So this is what generally we have to select. Now
Okay.
you are not developing all 24 user stories at a time, right? So what you have to do, first of all, you must be knowing about first. What we have to do is we need to understand the business value and complexity of each user story first,
Okay.
right? So we need to understand the business value and complexity of each and every user story. For example, you are a developer, right? So out of 24, what to develop is what the matter here. Out of 24, which user stories we have to develop? On what basis this will be selected? This will be selected on basis of two things. What business value this particular user story is having. Second, what is the complexity involved? What is business value means? Business value means from the customer side. If that customer is expecting us to implement this immediately, is what we call it as a business value. Second is a complexity. What is complexity stands for? Complexity means how complex is this to develop technically, because that will be delivered normally, that will be explained by the technical team to us, right? Developers will tell you what is the complexity involved to develop that user story and all. So we need to understand the business value and complexity of user story. So for this, we have to follow different estimation techniques. Different estimation techniques.
Hmm.
Understood? Clear? Right? We have to follow different estimation techniques. Estimation techniques like poker gaming, right?
Hmm.
T-shirt sizing, all that, right? Normally in real environment, in agile environment, I'm saying poker gaming, T-shirt sizing, and all means each and every user story will be given some story points. On what basis? I told you two things they have to see. One is business value, second is
Business.
complex. Based on two things, development team, I'm talking about Scrum team, I'm talking about Scrum team will finalize what is the value we have to provide, right? What is the user story point we have to give, because each and every user story must be having some story points, right? Story
Correct.
points, right? For every user story we have to give story points. We have 24 user stories. Each and every user story we have to give giving story points based on Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series. Understood? Clear? Basil, right? Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series means 0, 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 5, 13, and etc. Right? So this is what generally Fibonacci series will be. Means 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 5, 13, and so on. This is how generally Fibonacci series works.
Okay.
So what we have to do, whenever we have written user stories in an epic, what we have to do is we have to give story points estimation. This is what we call it as estimation. We have to provide estimation, and we have to see story points, and we have to give story points for each and every user story. Each and every story point of each and every user story, we have to give some story points. So these story points we follow normally two techniques. One is about poker technique, second is t-shirt size. So what is meant by poker technique? What is t-shirt sizing? T-shirt sizing means L, XL, M, like that sort. Normally poker game. Poker game means, for example, there were 5 people, right? I'll explain you because only details will be mentioned in JIRA. But if you want to write down some information in JIRA, normally agile information, we have to do agile because agile people will be involved in it.
Okay.
Because whoever is learning JIRA, they don't know all that, right? Simply they'll manage all that. But first of all, you have to give story point. So usually what will happen, this is happens through poker game. How the poker game works, for example, there were 5 people. What we do is, first of all, whatever the user story we have, right? For example, this is the user story we have. Each and every user story will be given to all the people. Okay, each and every user
Okay.
story will be given to all the people. Now, if there are 5 people, we give this user story to all the 5 people. And
Okay.
what we do is we'll ask people to give some story points to that. Based on the Fibonacci series, you will ask those people to give story points. Please give story points and all. Now, for example, there were 5 people. 3 people were given a story point called 3 each. The remaining 2 people have given 5, for example, right? Some 2 people have decided based on business value and complexity, they have given 5 story points, and other 3 people have given 3 each. Now, which is under majority? Number 3 is under majority.
Okay.
Now, what we do, the same story, usually it is all comes under card. Normally, there is a process we call as 3Cs. 3C technique,
Okay.
right? 3C, right? Right? 3C technique we follow. So, using this 3C technique, what we do, we'll identify each and every story will be written on a card, and the same card will be given to everyone. So 3 people have given 3 number, and 2 people have given 5 number, right? Now, which is under majority? 3 under majority. Now, the same user story, the same card again will be given, again will be circulated with 5 people, right?
Okay.
For example, you are the person. Now you have given 3. Second time, whenever there is a brainstorming session, or whenever there is a brainstorming happen, will you stand on 3? May or may not, right? So your mindset might be changed. Maybe was thinking process again. Again, you are rethinking. You might be given 2, or you may be given 1, or you may be given 5, or so on. So a poker is a kind of technique which is being used to get a commonality. As long as we are not getting commonality among people, this card will run among all these 5 people and all every time. This is what generally poker game is all about. Understood? Clear, person?
Yes, clear, but I have some many questions like that. How the first question is that, so if, for example, we have to circulate the card, right? If I given the numbering one time, the same card will be given. We have to provide the same number for the same user story or different user story in the second round.
See, 9. Even second round, the same user story.
Okay,
Same
same
user
user
story.
story.
You're not giving second round.
Okay.
See, let me see the first user story. What was the first user story? Sales report generation is the first user story, right?
Yes.
So now what we do? We write this on the card, and this card will be given to the people first, right?
Okay.
3, we get some people majority, some people in minority. Now again the same card will be recirculated again among people again. Whoever has given 3 number may give 2, or else 5%, 5. Whoever has given 5 may become 3, right? Or this will happen.
Yes, it
So
happens.
unless until if we get majority people, right? This card will be circulated. The same user story. I'm talking about the same user story will be circulated. For what reason? Because among 5 people there must be some commonality in terms of the business value and complexity should get. For this reason, generally this technique is being used. For example, you and me are in the team. Okay,
Okay.
you see it has more business value, and you see that there is nothing complex, right? But
Okay.
as far as mine is concerned, I see that there is nothing a business value in that user story as I observe. But as far as the complexity itself is concerned, I felt there is more complex for me to develop something, right? So that hence it is taking time. So my idea and my perception is entirely different than yours, right? Your perception is yours, my perception is mine.
Okay.
Assume that, practically speaking, assume that both mindsets are different. If both are working under the same user story, will it be succeeded?
No.
Why? Because that perception of the one which it is there in their mind will continue further, right? So it will not stop, isn't it?
Okay.
It will get continued. It will get continued as it is. So there is nothing as stop. Why? Why? Because there is no commonality among people.
Correct.
Agree, right or not?
Agree.
So unless until if there is no commonality, can we work? Is it
No.
possible?
We have to
Right.
come to
So
the same page.
what is required here? You need to have a commonality among people, which is something needed, right? So to get this commonality, what you are doing? You are conducting and you are
Brainstorming session.
conducting a poker technique.
Okay.
So using poker technique, what you do, whatever the user stories do we have and all, for each and every user story, we have to give some story. So normally what will happen, for example, how many user stories we have? 24 user stories, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? Total how much?
24.
How many? Yeah, 24 issues are there. So 24, if you can see here, right? So here, right? You can see here. Number of story points, how many it is showing? Showing as 0.
Yes.
Am I right or not? Right.
Yes.
Now, roughly I'm saying, roughly you have given 2 story points, right? For everything, right? Roughly, but normally it won't happen, but roughly I'm saying. 2 into 24, 48,
48.
right?
Okay.
So total number of story points which must be addressed by the team is how many? 48,
48.
isn't it? Now, out of this 48 story points, how many story points should be, how many user stories or story points should be addressed first is what the point. Now, what will happen whenever your development is taking place, practically speaking, first epic, how many user stories you have? 3 plus 3, 6, 1, 7 user stories. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you're taking one sprint to develop first immediately, forget about user story points, right? Forget about that.
Actually, I
Or
have
you taking
one
all,
questions regarding user story points.
tell me.
So how you consider the 2 into 48? Sorry, 2 into 24.
2
Why you
into
consider
24,
2?
right?
No, why we consider 2?
Nine, roughly I'm saying, boss. I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
calculating. Roughly I'm saying it may be 2 or it may be 3 or it may be 5, whatever it is. After done that. Basan.
Mhm.
I'm giving you rough figure. I'm not calculated. I haven't calculated. Normally, practically speaking, it will not be 2 for everyone, right? For example, if the first is 2, this may be 3, this may be 5. Please add everything, right? How many story points you add, total number you will get here.
Okay, okay. Now it
Correct?
is clear.
See, for easy
Yes.
calculation purpose, I have told you two each for easy
Okay.
calculation to understand. It doesn't that we are giving options to, right? It will not happen in practical environment. For you
Okay.
to, because if I can, we cannot add, right? So if I can give 2, 2 plus 3, 3 plus 2 again this calculation and all time lagta. उसके वास्ते I have just given us to simply I told for 48. That's what I told.
Okay. Okay. I
Understood?
got it.
Clear or not?
Got it. Yeah, clear.
Just for
Now
the rough
clear.
figure, I haven't done anything so far. We'll do it later because
Okay.
we give story points for every user. That we'll do it in the next session. No problem, right?
Okay.
Because before I'm going to start that, I'm just giving you an overall idea. For that reason, for a simple calculation, I have taken 2 story points for everything, right? For you to understand better.
Okay,
Now,
one more question
48
over here.
you understood.
So, yes, we have two estimation concept, right? One is a poker gaming and T sizing, right? So, which one is very
Hmm.
popular, poker gaming or T sizing?
Poker game. Poker
Poker
game. The
gaming is
reason I
okay.
told you because poker game will be used by the people. The reason I have taken that. Understand now?
No, your voice is
Not.
breaking. Can you come again?
Yeah,
Your
understood
voice.
now? Or
No, no, the voice is not. I am not able to hear you. Uh, could you please come again? Hello.
yeah, understood or not? I'm asking you.
No, 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 sir. Please come again. Regarding the poker game.
I'm texting here.
Okay. Okay.
Is it okay? Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So now, for example, if you're going for a roadmap, right? For example, we are creating one sprint. In one sprint, for example, we want to put 4 user stories, right? 4 user stories. Now, if you take one epic, in the first epic for 7 user stories, are you going to develop all these 7 user stories at a time?
No.
Right? Because even though if it is there in one epic, first epic number one, first in the epic, it is not that all the 7 user stories required by the customer now, right? Am I right or not? Right? All the user
Yeah, clear.
stories are not required by the customer. So whenever we do sprint planning, what will happen? We take 2 user stories. For example, roughly I'm saying was, roughly I'm saying, right? It's not in
Okay.
reality, roughly. For example, what we do whenever we do sprint planning, in first epic we have taken 2 user stories, right? It may be 7 and 8, or it may be 7 or 10, or it may be 9 and 11, or it may be 9 and 7, whatever it is, right? 2 user stories we have taken. In second epic, we felt inventory management system it's required, we have taken 2 more. Like this, from different epics, multiple user stories and all everything will be taken, and we create a sprint. Understood? So whenever you are planning a sprint in agile environment, it is not based on the epics what we have. It is based upon the user story points what we have given. At the same time, it is based upon the importance of that particular user story, irrespective of the epic which it is having. It is nothing to do with which epic is this, right? It is about that particular user story as well as the complexity. That is what we see. Understand now? Clear?
Yes, understood.
Understood or not?
Yes, understood.
So based on this, normally this sprint, for example, out of these 24, have putting right. For example, these 4 users, you are putting 4 user stories. Roughly, I'm saying stories need
Okay.
not be on from the same epic. Need not be, right? Because one epic consists of 3-4 user stories. Need not be that we are taking all 4, right? 4 may not be required now to the customer. Okay.
Okay.
So one user story from one epic, one more from other, and maybe for out of 6 epics we have, right? 6 epics. Maybe we may be taking from six each, or maybe only from 3 epics, or maybe from only from 2 epics, or sometimes maybe from 4 epics, right? So that differs, purely depends on the need of the customer. At the same time, that you have to make sure from the Scrum team members. Scrum team members have to decide that, right? Scrum development team has to decide how many user stories and what user stories are possible for me, for us to develop in the first sprint. That decision will be taken by the Scrum team members. Scrum team members have to take a call on that.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Yes, clear.
Right or not? Right. Right. So now coming back to this, we have created a roadmap. In this roadmap, first what we have did, we have done epic creation.
Epic
Each
creation,
and every epic, we have added
as
some user stories.
user
Now
stories.
what we have to do is we have to give story points to the user story. That we do next week, right? How to give
Okay.
story points. Once story points given and all. Now how to create roadmap for this particular work and particular point system, and how to do the sprint planning, right? On what basis we are taking user stories and all everything into the sprint. That part we will discuss in the next week.
Okay.
Clear
One
to
more
you?
questions. Yes, agrees. One more question. So, there is any concept like we have to create the critical path method, or we have to do with the poker gaming only?
I didn't get
Because
you. Can you come again?
we have to do the development sequence wise, right? So what we do next, 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 right? So
Hmm.
can we have to do the critical path method in
No,
this?
no, it's not only critical complexity. You're talking about critical means complex work. You're talking about, right? Complex work.
Yes.
Right. See, there are two things, Basant. One is business value, second is complexity. These are the two major ones we take into consideration.
Okay.
Understand? One is business value,
Business value is
second is
complexity.
complexity. Because it is not only complex. Because if it is high complex, doesn't mean it is high priority. It doesn't mean that, right?
Okay.
Maybe complex. See, that user story or that functionality might be a complex one, but it doesn't mean that that is the first priority. Right, but because that user story, even though it is complex, that must be having a business value also. See, for example, I am the customer. If I'm asking you, then only you are developing it, right? Even though if
Okay.
it is complex, it is not important for me at this point in time. It is important, but not now, right? Maybe in future.
Okay.
But there is no point in for you to develop that immediately, just because of the complexity. Agree?
Okay. Agree.
Understood or not?
Understood.
So this
Sir,
is
do
how
you have
generally.
any document for the poker gaming and the tea sizing? Can that will be help
No,
for me?
usually there will be some company templates will be there. Usually that is only for company level because we are not authorized to get it outside. Problem
Okay.
is that because it's a restricted environment, right? So the reason why we are using our personal laptops. We don't use company laptops because company laptops doesn't have access. If you try to access it automatically, it will be
No,
uh,
no. If you have any study material regarding the poker gaming or tea sizing,
old
then
material. I might be having old material in my repository. Let me see. I will send it to you, right? Maybe
okay,
next week,
okay.
before next week session start, I'll send you that to you.
It will
I
help
will
me
send you.
so to better understanding
Why
the
not?
poker
Why not?
gaming. Yes.
Always, always. I'll give you. I'll see some example. I think it is there with me. Let me see. I'm not sure. Let me see. Otherwise, I'll see and I'll get it to you. No problem. I will do it.
Okay.
But not immediate. Before next week, next session starts, I'll share it.
Yes, it will be
Right?
fine.
For sure.
It will be fine for me. Yes.
Okay. That poker game example kind of stuff, it must be there somewhere in my old repository. Let me see and I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
Right, Basant?
Right, sir.
See you then. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.